Welcome back to Go for Two Sports. I am your host, Aaron Shedd. We had to take a week off due to Hurricane Helene impacting the Southeast. I was out of power and internet, but here we are now and excited to review Week 5 in the NFL. We're going game by game, team by team. Let's get into it. First up, we have the Jets and the Vikings. The Vikings take this one 23-17 as they move on to 5-0. The Jets fall to 2-3 as Aaron Rodgers, he threw 3 interceptions against the Brian Flores defense. The Jets, they may need to trade for Adams. He's made it known that he wants to be the Jets. He wants to go to the Jets to play with Aaron Rodgers, and they just may need something like that to save their season. Garrett Wilson actually had a great game, 13 catches for 101 yards, but he needs help. Allen Lazard, he had 3 drops. Rodgers had 3 interceptions, 2 of them in the first quarter, which had never happened before in Aaron Rodgers' career, so that was just another reason why this Jets offense flopped. The rushing attack for the Jets is non-existent as well. 27 yards on 19 carry for Breece Hall over the past 2 weeks. He's been ice cold, which has been putting a strain on the passing game. The Jets defense continues to look good. Good defense, inconsistency on offense is just hurting the Jets. They held the Vikings to 2 field goals in the second half, but it still wasn't enough for this Jets offense to come back. The Vikings enter the bye week undefeated at 5-0. Aaron Jones goes down with a hip injury in the first half. Sam Darnold has his worst game so far this season, so they're looking to get both of those problems in check in their bye week. The defense forced 3 interceptions on Aaron Rodgers, and they had a defensive touchdown. They made for this defense to dominate the Jets. And the Vikings just overall had another great week as they moved to 5-0. The rookie kicker, Will Reichard, went 3 for 3. He improves to 9-9 on the season from the field goals and 16 for 16 on extra points. And so yeah, he's having a really good game. Sam Darnold completed less than half of his attempts, but they still found a way to win behind a great defensive performance, all-around good game for the Vikings, and they are able to escape 5-0 through the first 5 games of this season, and we are moving on to the Panthers and the Bears. Coming into the game, the Panthers were down 4 key defensive starters and lost Clowney during the first half. The defense had no chance this game and made Caleb Williams look like an all-pro. The Panthers had found success earlier this season after benching Bryce Young with Andy Dalton, but this game was just not the same. The Panthers blitzed on 31% of Caleb Williams' dropbacks, but he was still 8 for 10, 128 yards against the blitz as Carolina could not get pressure. Carolina needs help on the defensive front. Caleb Williams' deep ball has improved significantly so far. He went 4 for 4 on 108 yards and 2 touchdowns on deep passes. The receiving core had a big game, bunch of explosive plays from all different receivers in that offense. DJ Moore had 5 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns versus his former team, making the trade of Bryce Young even worse. The Panthers, of course, sent DJ Young the first overall pick, a second overall pick, and their first overall pick from that current year, all in exchange for Bryce Young, and it hasn't worked out. Andy Dalton did not look good this week. They put Bryce Young in garbage time, and he did a little bit, but it still wasn't enough for them to come back. And we are moving on. Miami versus New England. New England couldn't get anything going through the air so far this season. The offensive line hasn't looked good either, and they just didn't really show up against the defense. They looked a little bit better, but Jacoby Brissett just didn't show up either, and it just made them both look worse. Penalties hurt New England as they went 12 for 104 yards in this game. The Patriots move into first overall pick territory as there's not much hope for this team, and a bunch of people are saying, why don't you let Drake May come in? But in this situation, it's just not a good thing to put a rookie quarterback, your quarterback of the future, into. Miami, they started Tyler Huntley for the second straight week, and again, he did not have a good game despite the win. But as they're heading into the bye, the Dolphins can use this time to try and get healthy and develop an actual game plan around Tyler Huntley. Devin Achane, he went down with a concussion in the first half, but Jordan Wright came in and ran for 86 yards on 13 carries. The rookie adds another layer of depth to an already pretty good running back room. 11 special teams penalties this season already for the Dolphins, and another one in this game. It seems like this team just doesn't want to win. They stab themselves in the foot often, and they even though they snuck out of Foxborough with a win. Miami and New England was overall a snooze fest. Miami was able to hang on for the win late in the game. Overall boring game. I have nothing left for that game. We're going to move on to the Colts versus the Jags, an actual entertaining game. The Colts offense with Joe Flacco is such a change of pace from Anthony Richardson. Flacco averages 5.6 yards per attempt, while Richardson averages 12.6. The Colts still managed to find success in this one, though, and wide receiver Alec Pierce also had an excellent game. 70 yards between two plays back-to-back, and a score looking like prime Randy Moss, including that one-handed grab in the end zone. The Colts defense struggled to force pressure on Trevor Lawrence, even though the Jags offensive line isn't even that good. They didn't get to Trevor not once, and that allowed Trevor to absolutely torch the Colts defense, throwing for over 300 yards and 2 scores. The Colts lost their 10th road game in a row to Jacksonville. The Colts can't play in Duval, simple. And dating back years, this has been going on, so the Colts just got to find a way to win on the road versus the Jags. Back in 2021, the last game of the season featured the Colts needing to win to go to the playoffs, and they choked with Carson Wentz at the helm. And just wasn't a good sight as they end up missing out on the playoffs because of that game. And the Jags had a great performance from Trevor Lawrence here, throwing for 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, by far his best performance so far this year. He did throw an interception, but he bounced back, and he did look good for the rest of the game. Big confidence-boosting performance as the Jags head to London for back-to-back games over the lake. Tank Bigsby is taking Travis Etienne's spot as running back 1 in Jacksonville. Tank Bigsby, I can't say that name right to save my life. He had 101 yards on 13 carries, which is both career highs. He ran for score as well on a 64-yard boom. Travis Etienne is most likely a trade block candidate now after a slow start this season, which sucks because I have him on my fantasy team, but, womp womp. Rookie Brian Thomas Jr. continues to be their best weapon on offense. He had an 85-yard touchdown on which he ran like 22 miles per hour or something like that, which is the fastest time so far a ball carrier has ran this season. Look for him to continue to have a great year as wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville. Great pick for the Jaguars late in the first round. And we are going to move on. The Ravens and the Bengals are up next. The Ravens pick up a huge comeback win against the Bengals. The Ravens were down 10 points late in the fourth and come back to win by 3 in overtime. It's an overall classic performance from the Ravens. Lamar with his feet making MVP plays, Justin Tucker hitting from range. The Ravens had several mishaps, with Lamar fumbling 2 snaps, one of them in overtime, but still just looks like Superman, just escaping and getting out of the pocket and making plays on the run. Just some of the craziest stuff you'll see from him at the quarterback position. The Ravens defense came away with a huge turnover after allowing 5 Burrow touchdown passes, and they used that to piggyback a Justin Tucker 50-yard field goal to send it to overtime. And then in overtime, he had another one to win it. 175 rushing yards for the Ravens, which means the Ravens have now outrushed their opponents in all 5 games this season by at least 100 yards, which is the longest streak of that such nature in NFL history. No one has ever done that before. The Ravens have an incredible ground game. The Bengals fall to 1-4, and this may end their season. It's going to be tough to come back from this. Joe Burrow's playing amazing. Their playmakers are playing amazing, but the defense is abysmal. An 0-3 start at home is not ideal for a team who has Super Bowl aspirations. Burrow, after the game, just came out and said straight up, this is not a championship team at the moment. He was just showing his frustrations with this team. But the Bengals can turn it around, but it will be a tall task as the defense has not looked good, even though Joe Burrow is having an amazing season. What can the Bengals do to turn it around? Missed field goal in overtime was a klutzy mistake as well. The holder, he snapped the ball. The dude snapped the ball to him, and he dropped it, and then tried to pick it back up in time, but just wasn't able to, and just allowed Evan McPherson to kick it wide left, and that ultimately set up Justin Tucker for the field goal after a 50-yard Derrick Henry run on the next play, as the Ravens complete the comeback and win by 3 in overtime. And we are moving on. The Browns and the Commanders. It was all Commanders in this one. The Commanders have had their best offense so far this season. They've averaged 33.8 points a game and 409 yards per game, both leading the NFL. Jaden Daniels had a rough start to this game, though. He looked like Lamar Jackson at times, moving around in the pocket, making guys miss. He ended up bouncing back and ended the game with 248 yards through the air and ran for 82 more. Daniels seems to recognize and avoid blitz at the absolute highest level. There's just not many people in the league that can do what he can do in the pocket and make guys miss the way that he can. He looks like MVP Lamar Jackson from the past year. And he's incredible so far in his career. He's by far looking like the best rookie quarterback, even after Caleb Williams' impressive showing versus Carolina. Frankie Louvu dominated on the defensive side of the ball. 2.5 sacks and a fumble recovery. He was all over the field rushing the passer, dropping back in coverage. He's one of the few guys in the NFL that can do that at an absolute insane level. Just an overall great pickup for Washington in the offseason coming from Carolina. As for the Browns come into the season wanting to make a deep playoff run, but have shown up looking like a top 5 draft pick kind of team. The Browns' revamped offense just looks horrible. No consistency or identity. Nothing at all. Deshaun Watson looks like the biggest waste of money since Russell Wilson. The Browns need to bench him and get Winston in there to see if he can bring any type of life to this offense. It doesn't even have to be for good. Like, you can bring Deshaun Watson back in a couple of weeks, but, just to get Jameis Winston in there for just for a couple of games, just to try to get any type of rhythm or momentum for this offense, just to change it up. The Browns have so much invested in Watson that I know it's hard to move on, but this guy's just, outside of being a piece of crap, he's also just bad at football in 2024. The Browns didn't convert a single third down conversion. There's just nothing going for this Browns team. The offense stinks. They'll probably be picking in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. As we move on to the Bills versus Houston. Texans look to come out booming after a Nico Collins 97-yard touchdown to put them up 14-3 early in the first quarter, but after hurting his hamstring on that play, he would miss the rest of the game. This would cause the offense to lull and only score 9 points throughout. This almost allowed the Bills to come back from 20-3 deficit, but the Texans hold on to win 23-20. The Texans locked up Josh Allen, forcing him to go 9 for 30 in this game through the air, which is their lowest percentage in a game with at least 30 attempts in NFL history. Josh Allen looked like rookie Josh Allen, or how he did at Wyoming in the game after looking so great to start the year. He's probably, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So this is a tough look for Josh Allen in this one. The Texans, they can be a great team if they can figure out how to score in the second half and put teams away. Over the last 4 games, they just have 23 points scored in the second half. The Bills can't function without Josh Allen playing good football. Receivers couldn't create space and weren't on the same pace with Josh Allen. Drops on almost every single drive lulled the momentum for the Bills and really hurt them overall in the comeback efforts. Third down defense, the defense had to find a way to get off the field on third down. Houston went 8 for 16 on third down and gave up 5 conversions on third and long. The Bills' defense had 2 important turnovers in the fourth quarter, but still allowed Houston to take way too much time off of the clock and overall ended their hopes at a chance of victory with a game-winning field goal as time expired. Houston holds on to win 23-20. We're moving on to the Raiders versus the The Raiders are probably done with Gardner Minshew now. He's completed his first 9 passes in a row to start this game, then he completely fell apart. He threw 2 interceptions, including one in the red zone, which ended up being an 100-yard pick six, which resulted in a 14-point swing. They could have taken the lead 17-3, but ended up being tied 10-10. That gave the Broncos momentum to ride out and win the rest of this game. The Raiders then benched him for Aiden O'Connell, who didn't even look much better. He was obviously rusty coming off the bench, but he went 10 for 20 for 94 yards and a pick. The Raiders came into this game with an 8-game win streak in this series, and it was snapped here, a big part thanks to the poor quarterback play and penalties. The Raiders had 11 penalties today, which cost them heavily throughout all 4 quarters. Brock Powers opened the game with an incredible play that went for 57 yards and a score. He's just a great talent. He'll be here for years to come, making plays and being a great weapon for this Raider offense. The Broncos looked coherent. Javonte Williams looked like himself once again after a slow start this season. He bounced back last game and looked even better this game. But the offensive line did get some push up front, even though being down 2 starters in this game. The offensive line is really banged up. They need to get that under control and find some help and get this line of scrimmage control in order so that they can be better for the run game and Bo Nix. Bo Nix is improved with every game so far this season. He hasn't thrown an interception in 2 weeks now. He had 3 touchdowns today. Good game for him. Good game overall for the Broncos as they rout the Raiders 34-18. And we are moving on to the Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals look good against the 49ers, and now they have hope to build off of this win. The fourth quarter looked great as the Cardinals were able to complete the comeback thanks to a great game-winning drive by Kyler Murray. He decided to actually use his legs and get out on the run late in this game, and the offense just looks completely different when he's able to get out on the run. Marvin Harrison Jr., he had a quiet game, only 2 catches, 36 yards, which both came in the first quarter. He was targeted 5 more times, but he just wasn't able to catch one after that. The offense moved the ball good thanks to a great game by running back James Conner and Kyler Murray on the ground as well. The defense held their own. They stopped the 49ers 4 times in the red zone, forcing 3 field goals and recovering a fumble. The defense definitely was bending all game but did not break. They held their own, allowing the offense to come back and win this game and upset the 49ers. As the 49ers are off to a slow start to start off this season, they need to figure out how they can manage to finish games and win games even with all the injuries. After leading the league last year in red zone efficiency, the 49ers have made 6 trips to the red zone and only came away with 1 touchdown in this game. Not a good look for a team with Super Bowl aspirations as they are now 2-3 on the year. Special teams has been a problem so far for the 49ers, and it looked like it was going to get worse after an injury to kicker Jake Moody, but the unit looked good and even produced a block field goal returned for a touchdown. That certainly, would be a help to an offense that's struggling to get in the end zone, but still the offense just wasn't able to keep up their end of the bargain as the 49ers suffer an upset and fall to the Arizona Cardinals. But we are moving on. We got the Giants versus the Seahawks. The Giants, they came in and upset Seattle, but it wasn't even an upset. We're going to see the Giants look better and better every single week so far. This young team, even without Malik Neighbors this week, were able to come out and look great. Daniel Jones, he had 2 touchdowns against the blitz for only the second time in his career, and he finished 9-11 against the blitz. Overall, good game for Daniel Jones as he did not turn the ball over. The Seahawks look like their 3-0 start were not just a show for what's going to come, as they have dropped 2 in a row and have looked bad over the past couple of weeks. The defense allowed 175 rushing yards to the Giants, even without their starting running back. Rookie Tyrone Tacey had to come in, and he ran for 129 yards on only 18 carries. Seattle's run defense continues to be one of the worst in the league, as Seattle goes into Thursday night football short week and they take on the 49ers next week, or later this week. But we are moving on. We got the Packers, we got the Rams. Let's see what's going on. Well, what's going on with the Packers? Xavier McKinney, he just keeps getting interceptions. He has won in all 5 games so far this season, 6 games in a row dating back to last season, and he also had a fumble recovery this game. He was just all over the field for the Packers, creating plays left and right. Overall, great offseason addition. Jayden Reed on the offensive side of the ball continues to look like wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Romeo Doubs was suspended for disciplinary issues. Apparently, he was complaining about his playing time, and Jayden Reed just come in and made him look silly. Jayden Reed had a great game, 4 catches for 79 yards and a couple of runs for 19 as well. He became only the 6th player in NFL history to have 400 receiving yards and 100 rushing yards through the first 5 games of the season so far. Tucker Kraft also, he looked like prime Gronk on a 66-yard touchdown catch and run for a score. He was stiff-arming guys and running past dudes, breaking tackles. He was just awesome on that play, and he was able to get into the end zone. The Rams enter their bye week to try and get healthy, as the defense and offense are both banged up. This season is not looking bright for the Rams, looking like another rebuild year. Maybe they can go on a second half of the season run similar to last year and make the playoffs, but that would be a long shot. They entered this game with only a 14.3% chance to make the playoffs, and that has only gotten worse after the loss. The defense needs to figure out how to limit explosive plays. 2 explosive plays basically lost in this game after they put up a pretty good fight against this Packers offense. Had a nice pick 6 against a just hilarious play from Jordan Love, just diving and trying to throw the ball away in his own end zone, and just wasn't able to get it as he throws a pick 6 there. But the Rams give up 2 explosive plays in this game, and that basically lost it for them. The long score by Kraft and the huge 50-yard game by Reed, which set up another score. As we are moving on to the last game of the night, the super late Steelers-Cowboys. This game didn't start till really late because of the lightning delay. It delayed it by an hour or so it was on late into Monday morning. Without Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence or Brandon Cooks to start the game, they lost Marshawn Kneeland and Tyler Guyton in the first half to injury. The Cowboys really needed something, but they woke up after 2 turnovers in the red zone and a blocked field goal. The Cowboys couldn't execute through those first 3 plays, but they were able to wake up after that and come alive to win this game. Justin Fields for the Steelers, he's looked inconsistent with the Steelers so far. It makes me wonder how long they will run with him over Russell Wilson, though Coach Mike Tomlin has made it clear that there will not be any quarterback discussions until after Wilson returns from his calf injury. The offense turned 3 stops from the defense in the red zone into 3 straight punts, and that's just not going to get it done against this explosive Cowboys team, as they almost looked to redeem themselves late in the game on the defensive side of the ball, but the Cowboys were ultimately able to have a connection from Dak to Tolbert in the end zone for the game winner. The defense just was really hurt by third down. Every third down they were just letting Dallas conversion. I think it was like 60% conversion rate that they gave up to Dallas. Several fourth or third and longs as well, and ultimately they almost had it in the end, but lost thanks to that Dak touchdown. And that will do it for this week in the NFL. Tonight we have Monday Night Football. I'll be here tomorrow to review that and give you my thoughts and analysis. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Subscribe and tell me what you think down below in the comment section. I am Aaron Shedd, your host of Go for Two Sports, and I'll see you here tomorrow. I'm out of here.